Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Wreath Christmas card. Now this is one of 6 beautiful new cards from our latest release, and I have all of my pieces cut out in front of me here. This one's going to go together real quick since we only have 4 layers for the main design here. Now I have my card base here. Now what you want to do is fold it, obviously, and then take a look. It's going to be very subtle, but you're going to notice that there's a series of little markers. There's one at the top, one at the bottom. There's one here and one here. And that's to help you get this properly centered once we get it all put together. Okay, so this is going to be the face of our card. Now I'm going to start by putting the little panel inside. And this is where you're going to write your little sentiment or do your stamping. And if you're fancy, you can have your machine do the writing for you. Just have it do all of that, have it cut out all the pieces, and then you just have to put it all together. So that's definitely something to look into, especially if you have those really cool single line fonts where it almost looks like handwriting. That's something to consider. We have a friend of ours, her name is Leslie. She runs a website called Single Line Fonts. I believe that Cricut also has some built into Design Space as well, so those are all great options. Okay, so the panel is in. Let's take a look at the main design. I've kind of laid everything out already just so that I remember what order they go in. This is your bottom layer, okay, and we're going to take this layer here and glue it to this layer. So grab your glue and let's just apply it to the back. Go very easy with the glue here. Don't need to overdo it. Every little bit of glue is very strong and it does a lot of work. I just want to make sure that, I think specifically the perimeter is probably the most important. You get a little bit on the inside, obviously around these designs, but the perimeter is going to be where you should focus most of your effort. And just pop that right into place, like so. Just make sure that everything's nice and flush around the perimeter. And if you have a brayer, definitely use it. Speeds things up and keeps things nice and flat, especially when it's drying. Okay, this is going to be your next layer. You probably are cutting them out of very similar colors, so look for your red layer here. And we're doing the same thing. Just getting our glue onto the back, working the perimeter, and then we'll do a little bit around the inside as well, especially around all of these little details. Let's get some in here, and then just a few little lines here and there is fine. If you put a little bit too much on there, just hit it with your finger, thin it out a bit. That should do the trick. Okay, there we go, beautiful, very simple. Okay, press that down, and if you're off a little smidge, it's not the end of the world. It's still going to look really cool. If you have just little peaks of, little hints of the color from the previous layer showing, it's not really going to make or break it. Okay, and this is the final layer here. This is a pattern piece of paper from the DCWV LeBlanc stack that is very classy looking. It's very subtle, but definitely gives these cards a very classy look. And this stack has been and probably still is available at your local, probably Michael's and Joann's. I think Michael's maybe carries a little bit, well, you know what, I think maybe it's Joann's that carries a little bit more of DCWV lately. Okay, so just pop that right into place. Get that nice and centered. And there it is, beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna give this card a little bit more dimension too. Hit this a little bit harder, get all those layers to stick. I've got some foam squares that we're going to apply to this. Now because this is 4 layers thick, you don't need to cake the back of this with a ton of foam squares. It's going to be very rigid as it is. So I'd say probably that's enough. Maybe just one more here for good measure. And peel these off. Actually, before you peel them off, give it a little push test. You can flip it over and see I'm pushing it down. I'm noticing that it's really bending right here. And that's a spot where I may as well just add one extra one. I everywhere else it seemed to be very sturdy and stiff, and that's how we want it. Okay, so just peel these off, get this into place using those little markers as our guides, and then we have a little banner that's going to go on the bottom, and that's where you can add your main sentiment. You can stamp, or again, if you want, have your machine actually write it out. And that looks off. So I never really push down completely with the foam squares until I'm 100% sure that I've got it lined up as accurately as possible. There we go, much better. Okay, let's take a look at this little banner now. Now the banner is going to be a little bit wider on the bottom, and you've got this white piece. This is the piece that you would want to do any writing or stamping on. And we're going to glue that onto the gold section here. Okay, it's going to go on the top part of it, upper half, just like so. Okay. Now if you're using a gold foil and you're gluing cardstock to it, give it a few extra seconds to really set, because that gold foil is not as it's not as permeable, and it doesn't absorb that glue like other cardstock would. I guess permeable isn't, well, yeah, permeable is a valid way of explaining it. Let's say absorbent is another way. Okay, so we have a point here at the bottom of this section, and there's a little point inside this valley on the banner. Just kind of match those up and try to keep it nice and balanced as far as the green section goes here between the banner and that section, as well as between or below the banner and the base of the card. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. So that's that. We've got our little insert in there. Very quick card. Okay, and like with every card, we have a coordinating envelope to go with it. So what we're going to do, we've got this little panel that we're going to put in place here, like so, to give this a two-toned effect. And we'll begin by putting glue between these little areas here on our, I've got some stuff in my bottle here, it's driving me nuts. I'm going to put some glue between these little areas here, and I'll explain why in a second. Okay, down here, and then go around the perimeter a little bit. And then, I'm actually going to take this piece as well and apply our glue just to the perimeter. And the reason I'm doing this is because if we were to try to put glue on just this piece in here, we wouldn't know where not to put it, so it doesn't show through this little cutout. So just pop that in there, try to keep a nice white border all the way around. Spray that down. And you can see how we have no glue showing through. Everything is nice and crisp and clean. And we'll take our glue and just put a little bit of glue along the inside here. Nice and thin. Fold this up, spray it down. And there we go. Beautiful envelope for a beautiful card. Now, I would suggest taking a nice green rhinestone and just gluing it right there. And then also on this card here, we have some natural little areas here where we can add a little pearl. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that off camera though. And if you're using bling like this, just be sure to glue it down. Don't rely on the little sticky that comes on the back of whatever embellishment you're using. It rarely ever stays in place forever. Okay, you can see how beautifully that fits. Beautiful card, beautiful envelope, and that's it. Very simple. Probably about 10 minutes, maybe, not even. I kind of talk a lot during these videos, and maybe that slows things down a little bit. So you should probably be able to get a bunch of these done in no time at all. But either way, hope you enjoyed the process. If you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in this little URL here at the bottom. So So anyway, happy Christmas card making, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.